Hey everybody, Casey here, and people have been asking for the high performance plan laid out, figuring out macronutrients, and basically how to start your official high performance fat burn program. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to go over the details on how to do just that. Okay, how to figure out your calories based on your calorie deficit needs for your activity. There's a lot of variables to think about, guys, and there's a lot of stuff that we can that may need to be tweaked to individualize the program for you. So that's one of the reasons why I haven't been just blowing it out there to the universe, because it still is a practice. And when I say practice, I mean it from like a medical sense. It is a practice for individuals based on personal biochemistry and activity, and of course their ability to really be accurate with their tracking and to eliminate variables that can throw us off. Okay, so I don't want to go down any wormholes, but just trust me, we could talk for literally weeks and hours on the topic. Okay, so first of all, how you get to your total energy expenditure, that is up to you, but we have to establish a number. We do have to understand our numbers in order to have a first set point so that we can start building from that point forward. Okay, so here's how I establish the calorie amounts for my clients, and my clients who are typically working out, exercising, but this could be anybody. Just understanding that when we start 5 and 1, we're going to be anywhere from 900 to 1200 calories, depending on snacks and that kind of thing. But let's just assume 1100 calories. We'll just make it easy and call that number 1100, depending on how you track your foods. You could have discussions on what that exact number is, but that's irrelevant. We want to just set that set point like we talked about and just establish some solid numbers here. So to understand the goal assessment or the goal establishment here on .fit is that if we choose lose weight, we're actually going to create the largest calorie deficit from our total energy expenditure, which is typically going to be about 750 calories. So when I'm on 5 and 1, for example, I'm going to have a 1700 calorie deficit. Okay, that's significant, and that's, most people would tell you is way too much, and most people will tell you that you can't do it, but it's done all the time. We see it with our larger people who are doing 5 and 1, or gentlemen, for example. When we tap into fat burn stores and we tap into the cells, the calories that we're burning are coming from stored fat. That's what we really want. Okay, it's that protective state of being in ketosis that's allowing us to preserve muscle mass, and it's allowing us to tap into those calories from stored fat, giving us the results that we see, not typical, right? The non-typical, awesome results that all of our clients get. That's what we're talking about, okay? That's what makes this a high-calorie plan. It's not what you're taking in, it's what you're able to burn, okay? So if I click lose weight, that's going to give me the highest calorie deficit in this particular program based on the science of exercise and nutrition, sports nutrition, and that kind of thing. So generally, it's going to be higher than what our 5 and 1 is, unless you are a short lady and you have a low lean body mass, or you're completely inactive. Okay, then that number might be perfect. In fact, for a lot of people, it gives us our 5 and 1 number. Or 5 and 1, 1100 calories. Okay, so if I choose build muscle, this is going to allow me more calories, so I have all the building blocks necessary to start recovering from my workouts and then building lean body mass. Okay, so that's total energy expenditure plus a little bit more, hopefully not too much more to where we're adding a lot of body fat, but where you're gaining muscle. Okay, if I go improved health, this is basically maintenance. Okay, this is total energy in, total energy out, and then just getting all of our nutrients from that. Now, down here, we have the option of improving athletic performance and gaining weight or muscle, improving athletic performance. I usually don't mess with these because all they're really doing is adding additional calories to these, okay? Assuming that you're gonna be above and beyond, you're gonna exercise maybe 350 to 400 calories per day extra than what's in your total energy expenditure, they're gonna give that to you here. I would much personally rather customize that with you or do it for yourself so that we can get to that sweet spot that's going to be individual for you starting from that 1100 calorie 5 and 1. Okay, so if I click this, which is what I'm going to do because I want to show you what this looks like. The questionnaire will go through here, and it's going to ask you height, weight, body composition, all this good stuff. What's time you go to bed, what time you wake up. Those are all things that are going to be important for determining that. And then what kind of separates the .fit program from anything else is it does want to know about your medical conditions. If there's too many over here in the yes column, it will ask for physician's release. If there's some that have contraindications with supplements, when you try to purchase a supplement that says that may have caffeine in it, for example, and you have a heart condition, it's going to give you a warning, and it's going to say this supplement is not advised for your condition. Okay, clear it with your doctor, that kind of thing. But it's a smart program that's not intended to sell you products, but intended to get you to your goal and get you there alive. Okay, so that's something that's I feel is really important. Then, of course, this is for bone and joint injuries, that kind of thing. Have you ever been told that you're an at-risk client because of dizziness, heart conditions, that kind of thing? So you'll have to go through all of this. And then we get into determining the amount of activity that you're doing. So a serious exerciser, this sport is kind of irrelevant. It could be whatever you're kind of training for, if it's skiing or football or whatever. And then how long you've been resistance training. This is more relevant up here to if we're doing the online personal training, we're getting into your designing your fitness program versus just talking about calories. And I'm going to expect that you're going to cover your fitness stuff on your own unless you ask me for additional support. Okay. And then over here, this is very similar to what you'd see on any total energy expenditure formula. Is what does your day look like? I'm sitting most of the day, I exercise 5 times a week, or I'm kind of continuously moving, but I exercise less than 3 times a week. Take a look at that and be honest with yourself what most closely fits into what you do, okay? Hit that. Change all those things and then put in your goal. So I currently guesstimated my body composition at 16. Let's say I want to get down to 9% body fat. That's going to give me a body fat mass change of 11.6. If I go over here and put down the time frame that I'd like to do that in, and let's say I want to do that in a month, it's going to tell me your goal is not possible, okay, just based on safe, effective methods. However, we blow this out of the water all the time. So in a lot of cases, I will just say, okay, if I hit next, it will set me up a new timeline for the amount of time that it would expect me to do that. And that's what's going to allow that calorie deficit to stay within safe standards for what we comply to on the .fit program. What we comply to on the 5-in-1 program is completely different. So that I'll just let you take that where you need to take that, okay? All right, so let's go into our summary. And for me, and based on my activities and what my goal is to accomplish that body composition in the shortest period of time, it wants me to take in 1,465 calories, okay? My total energy expenditure, what it's expecting me to burn throughout the day, is 2,600 calories, okay? What's important to understand here is that even at, providing that I'm burning this many calories, at 2,500 calories, I'm still in a calorie deficit that's going to allow me to see body fat reduction, okay? Not real fast, maybe less than a quarter pound a week or even less than that. But at 1,465, I'm in a pretty significant calorie deficit. In fact, that is 2620 minus 1465. That's 1,155 calories, okay? So I'm going to be, in a week's time, I'm going to be losing roughly about 2.3 pounds a week, which is accurate. So that's typically what would happen. If I start with 5-in-1, and this is what I recommend for all of our clients, is we start with 5-in-1, 1,100 calories. Okay, so here we are, 5-in-1, 1,100 calories, which we know is going to be roughly 105 grams of protein, about 85 grams of carbs, and then about 37 or so grams of fat, 35 grams of fat, something like that. Gosh, since we want to make this accurate, let me just go ahead and take a look at these numbers real quick. 105 times 4, this is also how you'd figure out those calories. So I guess we could be doing this together, but right now I'm doing it myself. 340 plus 420, that's 760. And 760, 1,100 minus 760 is 340 divided by 9. 37.8 grams of fat. So let's just say 38 grams of fat. That's 1,100 calories, 105 grams of protein, 85 grams of carbs, and 38 grams of fat. All right. So I'm going to write these numbers down because I'm going to refer back to them. 26, 20, 14, 65. All right. Let's get out of share for a minute. Okay, so starting at 1,100 calories. The first thing that I'm going to recommend to my clients, especially my clients who are exercising, is Amino Boost XXL. I don't even want to get into the reason why that's the only one I recommend, but I can talk for hours on the reasons why that's the only one I recommend. Anybody who goes out and gets a different one oftentimes calls me, tells me they don't feel any different, they don't feel awesome, and I say, which one are you using? They're like, not that one. They start using that one, they feel great, okay? So I'm not going to make a suggestion outside of that, and if somebody chooses to find a product that is different than that, like what we always say with Optavia is you alter the plan, you alter the success, okay? So there you go. That's the first thing that I will add. That will be Amino Boost pre-workout and immediately post-workout, and on off days, at least 1 serving, okay? There's many days where I do 2 servings on off days as well. There are some days where I do up to 3 servings a day, depending on what my workout status looks like, okay? So Amino Boost. Now, for most of our exercising ladies and shorter gentlemen, this is the only adjustment you might have to make until somebody gets to their goal body composition and their goal weight, okay? Simple. No additional changes to our program. Perfect 5-in-1 to compliance. Just adding a little bit of nutritional support, which actually helps with protein synthesis and helps with hunger because of that process, and it's a win-win all the way around, okay? Now, in the event that we have a larger individual who has more muscle mass, we are going to want to work up to our maximum protein, okay? Our maximum protein is going to be 1 gram of protein per pound of lean body mass. Okay, for me, in that number that I put down, I can't remember what I put down for my weight, but let's just say I have 26 pounds of fat mass on my body and 26.4, and I have 138 pounds of lean body mass. Now, the reason I don't get into calling my lean and greens is because there is a variance in the amount of protein that you get in our servings based on our Optavia guide, okay? What I mean by that is that if I choose some of my leanest portions, I'm going to have a very high number of grams of protein. And if I choose some other options, I'm going to have lower grams of protein. So if I'm not tracking my macronutrients in my FitnessPal or my HOH dashboard, I really don't know. And your 5-in-1 could look completely different from somebody else's 5-in-1. For somebody, and then the shorter the individual, the more potential negative effect it can have. So if I'm a short individual with low lean body mass who only needs 105 grams of protein, and I'm doing 7 ounces of elk, and I get 60 grams of protein, then I'm getting, with my fuelings, I'm getting, let's say 60 plus 115 grams of protein right off the bat. So I'm a little bit over, okay? So 10 grams, is it going to affect you? For some people it will, for some people it won't. And that's kind of what we have to have these numbers down so that we know what is affecting those feelings that we're having. Okay, so there we are. So if you do chicken breast, it's one thing. If you do turkey, it's one thing. If you do ground beef, it's another thing. So I would track my protein grams in one of the trackers just to make sure I know I'm staying below my maximum protein. The biggest mistake I see with people on what they would refer to a 5-in-1 or a 4-in-2 is they don't have an accurate number of what grams of protein they're taking in, okay? So there's that, the protein component. Now, we can work with 105 all the way up to 138. We don't have to maximize it right away. That's going to be based on our measurements that we're doing, and if we're seeing a loss of lean body mass or we're having fatigue because we're not recovering from workouts, those type of things are going to influence whether or not we need to take it up to 138.6, okay? If I am questioning staying in fat burn and I'm not sure if it's coming from protein or not, I'm just going to stay in that lower limit. The only Negative that's going to happen from that would be that I would potentially see a decrease in lean body mass. I wouldn't see a decrease or a slowdown in body fat loss. That's going to continue to happen because of the calories that we're burning. Okay, so that's not an issue. So don't worry about that as being something that's going to be like, oh my gosh, I need to make sure I get 138. It's a nice luxury to have extra protein if you are somebody who needs to fill your stomach and feel full more often. Okay. For some people, it's a nuisance. In some cases, you have to find a whey protein or a protein source that you can do in addition because you're kind of sick of eating that much protein. A lot of times ladies don't like to eat that much meat, or you're doing plant-based or whatever, and it just feels like too much protein. So you might have to have a supplement to help you get there, which is why we don't have to maximize it right off the bat. Okay? Next, we've made 2 adjustments, and only if necessary. We've added amino boost and then protein, if necessary. Otherwise, we're riding 5 and 1 as long as we can. Okay? I call it until an athletic crash. Okay? So what that means is that you feel like you can do 1 more rep, 1 more mile, 1 more set, 1 more day. And in some cases on those days, it's going to be, I can do 1 more hour, okay, on 5 and 1. When we get to a point where we don't feel amazing, and the whole goal with all of this is to just feel amazing, okay? We just want to feel good so that we can burn calories, we don't have hunger, we have mental clarity, our performance is awesome. That's what we're really looking for. So the numbers are irrelevant. If you're already feeling awesome, there's not a whole lot we need to change. You're feeling awesome. That's where we want to go. So we made those 2 adjustments, and that's all we have to do at that point, and we ride it out and we see how we do. Okay? How we get to those numbers, let's figure that out right now. Okay, so if we add our maximum amount of protein, that is going to give us a few additional calories, not anything that we're like overly concerned with, but obviously, yes, calories do matter. So the 138 is 554 calories, or 105, as we know, was 420 calories. So the difference is 134 calories. Not that big a deal, right? 134 calories coming from that additional protein. It really doesn't seem like it's that huge of a deal. And calorie-wise, it is not. However, how you feel, either through eating a little bit more protein because you want to fill your stomach, that kind of thing, that could feel different. And then, of course, the recovery process that your body's going to have. A lot of that stuff is going to be preserved and protected by the amino boost anyway, which is why we don't have to start maxing it out right away until we actually feel like we really need to, which is going to be that practice and that knowing your numbers so that we can say, hey, try this. And when you try it and it works, we're good. If we try it and we don't have relief, then we try something else, okay? That something else generally is going to be adding or backfilling your calories coming from healthy fats. And the reason why is because by default, it's the only thing that we can increase without increasing the risk of getting out of fat burn. If we add additional carbohydrates, we're going to kick ourselves potentially out of fat burn. If we add additional protein above and beyond our 1 gram of protein per pound of lean body mass, we're going to kick ourselves out of fat burn. So we can add fat to fuel fat. So in the case where we're going to just baby step our calories up, and let's remember that initial number 1465, and I'm currently doing 5 and 1 at 1100, I get to add 365 additional calories, which I'm going to do from fat. So I'm going to divide that by 9 to get the grams. I'm going to add 41 more grams of fat to go from 1100 to 1465, my new number that I want to establish. Okay? After I do that, so now I have my amino boost, I have my maximum protein if I decided to do that. In a lot of cases, I will add the fat before I add the protein, especially if somebody wants to see rapid body fat loss. Okay? And then we get to add the healthy fat. So the healthy fat is in there, the additional calories are in there. 365 additional calories is a good half an hour, 40 minutes of some kind of cardiovascular exercise, something like that. So if that's what you're doing, you backfill it, you're still in that same calorie deficit that we created because you burned those additional calories, and we're still on track to lose that 2.3 pounds of body fat. Okay, does that make sense? Okay, so that's the next step that we get to do in order to feel amazing and have low appetite, because the killer is if you are feeling tired and you have to nap for 3-4 hours a day, or you don't go upstairs and downstairs or park further away at your office or at the mall or something like that, then you're burning fewer calories throughout the day, and your workouts start to get reduced. The amount of calories that you burn from your workouts on an overall daily scale gets reduced because you're doing less outside of the gym. Okay, so we want to keep your activity consistent. Okay, so if you're feeling good, those numbers are going to increase, and that's really what we want. We want your workouts to improve. As you're getting lighter, you're getting stronger, you're getting faster, you're putting in more time at the potentially more time at the gym. You're feeling better because of all of those things. You're just going to continue to burn at an accelerated rate. So things that help us with that would be those tracking devices, especially a heart rate monitor. The chest straps are the most accurate. If I keep track of that during a workout, I can say, look, I burned 1,000 calories. I'm going to add that to my total energy expenditure for the day. And what I'm going to ask everybody to do in the beginning is just stay with a consistent number no matter what energy level you burn for the day. And I think that in order to just remove some of those variables, we can get into the really detailed high performance plan as we need to, but that's generally more than what people really need to focus on. Let's remember the thing that makes our program so successful is the simplicity of it. Okay, so this is going to be helpful for so many people, but we don't have to get into the details of it. In fact, as a health coach, what I'm going to suggest to people is, hey, you're not feeling awesome while working out on 5-in-1, let's go ahead and add Amino Boost. That might be the only thing we have to change. Boom. If that works, we're good. We don't have to change anything else. Nobody knows the difference. The program's amazing. Away we go, right? So we don't have to get into the reason why we would do that. If they inquire, they want to know, then fantastic. We'll get into the science of it if they're interested.